What's up guys, I'm Loops, and this is the Originator. This absolute unit of a base took me over 5 hours in all to build. Let me show you some of its features. The Originator is quite the airport with 3 helipads, as well as a massive indoor hangar. But if you're not feeling like flying the friendly skies, it's got you covered with 7 SAM sites sprinkled throughout. I tell you this thing will take down every heli, but just look at it. This thing's built to sink a fucking cargo ship. So without further ado, here's part 1 of this base build. We start with a triangle and we build 6 squares off of that triangle. And it has to be 6 or else it's pretty much going to mess up the whole layout. Too short and your arms that reach out are going to be like stuck to the base, and too far it actually becomes a lot easier to raid with exposed, with the arms being that long. You kind of want to keep those shorter because they are not necessarily a weak point, but they're a very heavily targeted point on a base like this because people think they're the easy way to take that wing of the base as well as a good stepping stone to the core. So I built down off of each of these because obviously with a foundation this big it's hard to find a piece of land flat enough to build it on. So if you're going to be building this anywhere, I highly recommend a shallow bay where the ground's flat enough to sustain something this massive. Building this on regular land in any server is challenging, let alone one that is pre-made to have flat land in it like this build server. So definitely you want to find lots of flat land. That's your biggest goal for when scouting to build this base. This really isn't a base that you just slap down, it's something that you definitely need to have a spot predetermined for. In game, I estimate this is going to take probably 10 to 12 hours for a solo builder to build. Solo builder meaning, you know, you're the builder for your clan, you're the only guy building. Obviously you couldn't build this as a solo on any server because of just how crazy it is to defend. So off of the core we build triangles out. It's essentially 3 squares out on each side is where we start the triangles, and we just build them to a point like that, and that's our base's foundation. So we just start, well first before we finish the foundation I actually put triangles on squares, and this was a complete afterthought. I put this on completely out of not believing that just circles on the end would be strong enough, and it ended up making the base way better looking as well as way more functional. So I had to lower that so I could get half walls in to put triangle floors on there because I wanted it to all be level. So with just triangle floors surrounded by elevated, or with just a triangle foundation surrounded by elevated foundations around it, it was actually too short to support itself, so I needed to put on other foundations. And I just go around and put the triangle square layout on every side. As I'm doing right here. Just putting triangle square around every side of that, and then building it up to B level. So while editing this, I actually decided that I was going to make it into 2 parts because this is just way too massive of a base to, well, it was way too long of a build to make into 1 video, as no one would watch it because no one would actually, well, I essentially would get, you know, half the views for twice the amount of recording. This base took me twice as long as most bases take me to build, and because of that I ended up having to just kind of scrap the idea of making it into 1 long video and making it into 2 because I didn't want to get half the amount of views and half the amount of subscribers I normally get from 1 video off of 2 videos worth of work. So I was going to do shot fronts here, but then I realized that I should probably lower the frame so it's jumpable. I just went around to every side and lowered the door frame on there. I'm gonna actually turn my mic so I'm speaking directly into it. On this side, I just kind of do the same thing, and then we start going with Lorraine. So a general theme I found while building here was that for some reason it wouldn't let me build in certain locations that had nothing blocking them, and it just says not enough space error. It was getting extremely aggravating, and it was wasting a lot of time while building. So I was about to just delete the triangle and build around, but then I ended up being able to come back and fix that. Because after building I decided it looked ugly and it was way less practical to have those triangles removed. And they probably shouldn't be removed, so I decided to come back around and it was letting me fix it for some reason. But on the whole base, I was getting a bunch of the not enough space errors where, you know, you have a fit or you have a good slot and it just doesn't let you build there for no reason. So I was getting a lot of that. It might be the server's fault. It might be just because of the location I built in for some odd reason, but for some reason I was getting not enough space while building this, so I just decided that I have to do it. And sorry about my voice during this video. I'm recording it with a sore throat, possibly strep throat, and it's really killing me to do it. But I had to get this up because I've already gone long enough without posting a video. So I'm hoping to get part 1 up today and part 2 up tomorrow, just because of how long narration takes me. So in the entrances, I decided that I was going to do a little something called I don't really know what to call it. I'm not going to say I invented it because someone else probably somewhere else has done it and someone's going to tell me, no, you didn't invent this guy did it first. But a little thing I like to use is where you keep a circle and then you make it 2 stories tall and you do bunker windows on top of it, so that when people either are blowing in through doors or are able to go deep on you, you have a space where you can shoot down on them and kill them. So that's what I decided to do here, and I did one in each wing. So these are kind of like little entryway points. They're kind of like big airlocks, if you will. So just kind of getting stuff to be able to build that. That's what I'm doing here. And then I make little drop boxes at the entrance here. So I just do kind of sets of 8 there. And I decided to now garage door them off because if someone's able to get that deep, they probably already have it. And along with that, it's probably just like more convenient than having to open and close the garage door every time. And then here we do doors in. So that kind of junction in the middle is where all the doors lead from, and on top of that you also have your area to shoot down on it from above, and then the area above actually isn't connected to the second floor anywhere else because that's just kind of generally unsafe to have your airlock go right to your second floor and your second floor being your TC access. So then I kind of built up and around, and I turned off building stability just for the ability to build these quick and easy without having to build my supports first. So I could just kind of build these first and then the supports second. So initially I was going to do that, but then I realized it would probably be better to have just a 360 view on there. So in case anyone gets deep on you with a pump and you're somehow able to give them 4 doors or whatever, this is a place where you stop them, and all it takes is a custom SMG and you can stop just about anyone in their tracks. Actually, another great way to utilize these as well is to put incendiary rounds into your pump or spaz and use that to shut down any would-be door campers. Then again, I don't know what people are doing trying to go deep on this because it's a lot of base to go deep on. The airlocks span so deep into the base that you're not actually going to get any loot from going deep on this, besides the loot that you get from whatever people have on them when you door camp them. So just pause here for a second, but this entire side is identical to the previous one. That's kind of the whole function of this floor, is to just be airlocks. Like, this entire floor is just a big floor of airlocks. So just like the other two, this one's just going to be shooting area above, ladder hatch to one side, airlocks to the other, and straight back is going to be the actual access to the base. And that is really about all we built here. So I actually made the mistake right here, and I go back and fix it later, but I made the mistake here of putting the ladder hatch on the outside. Well, I only have room for the ladder hatches around, well, the ladder hatch is supposed to come up directly around that middle circle, so the ladder hatch goes one square too far out, so I do go back and fix that later, but I actually don't notice my mistake until much further in. And then just put that on on the other ones. And starting on this one, we do the exact same thing that we have in the other ones. And that's about all we do for this first 15 minutes of the build, is just build airlocks on the first floor. That's about it for this floor, once we finish this up. But I do get faster and faster on each one of these as it's, you know, more obvious to what I'm doing. And I'm just more aware of what I'm supposed to be building on each one that I do build, so each one gets a little faster and a little bit less painful to watch. So once again, doors there, like that, door in the middle, and then we door it all up. And then over here we put in our boxes. And that about does it for that side on the first floor. Then we just go around and put on our second floor for that. So just get floors out, do all the squares, then do all the triangles, and then we're about done for that side. And I'm not sure if I go back to fix it and go back and fix that other airlock in part 1 or part 2. But I built this entire base in 30-minute increments, and I have a total of 5 30-minute increments, an hour-long increment, and a 40-minute increment. So build time on this really did stack up. So that's, yeah, 3.5 hours, 4 hours, like 4 hours and 50 minutes to build this base, essentially. So part 1 is essentially just all the 30-minute clips, and part 2 is the hour-long clip and the 40-minute clip. So part 1's going to have a lot more jumps between me and narrator me, so it's about every 15 minutes a new segment will start, and I'm also going to be narrating that in 15-minute segments so that I don't have to drone on and on forever, because the longer I talk for, the less I start talking near the end. So I figure if I can record this in 15-minute segments how I am right now, I'll be able to record more and talk more throughout the build. So speaking of that, we are coming to the end of the first segment, but I'm going to have to stop mentioning that because it's going to get annoying to hear me mentioning the end of the segment every 15 minutes. So we're going to get back on in this section with the roof of this because I forgot to do it in the previous section. As well as just kind of a general overview of the floor. So that's what it should be looking like so far. And at this point, I do notice my mistake that I mentioned earlier with this ladder hatch here. So I just kind of go back and change that up by just taking out these doors and putting in a fresh ladder hatch right where it should be. And then just kind of patching up the airlocks that don't need to be there because they lead to nothing. Now we start on the actual core itself. So here I was debating whether to do like full style loot rooms for the core or do like a kind of core room, and I ended up settling on a core room. So this room is going to be your like top of the notch of all your stuff. So this is where your best stuff is going to live, and it better be, because this is the safest spot in base. Obviously it's going to be the most targeted though, because it's where your TC most likely is, as well as people expect you to keep other stuff down here besides the TC, just like general loot. So this is the safest spot in the base, but it's also where everyone's trying to get. And I can't remember who commented this, but someone commented this on an older base. Actually, I think it might have been the Defender, the original Defender, that I shouldn't put all my loot rooms right in the middle because that's where people are looking for them. So I decided not to do that in this base. And the 6 or 7 loot areas I have are spread out all over. So it's not just, you know, all in the same spot. Also, what do you guys think about the music I put in the background of these? Do you think it's too much to have, like, well, what I do, so, like, what I'm doing currently on this one is I have a, like, chill, or, like, kind of a more, like, chill, jazz, hip-hop beats. But, like, do you guys like it with or without the music? Because I understand that it could be distracting when some people are trying to build, and I've got this going on in the background. But does it make it, like, more watchable for you guys, or is it just, like, annoying? Personally, I love to have this on in the background while narrating, because I guess it keeps me motivated to keep talking. I removed the roof off of that because I remembered I needed to take a thumbnail shot of the floor from above. So just a shot that I could use to edit up the thumbnail with, just like the overhead view. So if you see the shot, that's likely what's in the thumbnail. So for the rest of the floor, we just kind of make our little slots to ladder hatch up, and then we just kind of, you know, fill it in with honeycomb. Obviously there's got to be a lot of honeycomb because it's the first floor. First floor always has to be your safest. That's kind of a rule of thumb. You actually can put another layer of honeycomb on this if you'd like, around the outside. So just make it nice and pretty for the thumbnail shot and get back to work. So just roof all that up. Lots and lots of roof. And I just kind of start on the walls for the second floor. Once again, the same spot was giving me trouble, but not as much as this did on the first floor. But I do have that happen a lot while building this base, having it just kind of generally give me trouble with that little tricky placement thing, where it's like, you know, no space, or it says like not a valid spot to build or whatever, even though it is in fact a valid spot and there should be nothing stopping me from building there. On the higher floors of this base, I wasted a lot of time with that. So kind of just the general area just around the core there, because we wanted lots of vertical honeycomb on the core, so that's what that is. I actually don't use that middle room. In a minute here, you're going to see me fill it with half walls and just make it kind of double layers of floor in there, because blowing straight down is the worst. We don't want people doing that on our base, so obviously we got to keep it nice and honeycombed. And with the ladder hatches, I just kind of do a bypass of the floor. Besides, on the second floor, I link them all with garage doors so that you're able to get from one area to another. And then I just kind of go around and do these outside little wings. So yeah, like I said, just kind of fill that in with little half walls all the way around. Just lots and lots of half walls to keep it vertically honeycombed so people can't blow straight down on you. Because I just hate it when a group of guys, you know, come and blow me down. That's the worst. So you gotta make sure to keep it locked up down there. So yeah, just do a bunch of wall hatches here, or not wall hatches, wall frames, so we can fill them in with garage doors, because we need lots and lots of garage doors. I will say this is the more boring of the two videos, because we have to do the boring half of the base. But obviously, if you're watching this and you are planning on building it, I do highly recommend watching the second part. So there's that, and then we just kind of ladder hatched up around for the rest of this. Just do a ladder hatch in each of these. So just kind of build around the edge like I did before. And just kind of throw the roof on like I have been doing. This base does take a lot of roof to do, so finishing up the roofs obviously is very time consuming, especially when playing on, or when actually building this on a real server where you have to build, you know, without fly and without B grade. I assume if you are building this, you're likely building it on a server with B grade, but if you do attempt this on a non-B grade server, good for you. That's really tanking it out right there. But to build a 760k metal base on a vanilla server, if you do it, props to you. Like, if anyone actually does build this, please send me a picture. LOOPZ with a capital L, loops, LOOPZ, number 5357 on Discord. If you build this, please send me it. Like, I want to see it so badly. If someone's able to actually build this in any sort of server, even if you just build it on a build server for fun, send me a picture on Discord. Like, you know, tell me in the comments, and I'll leave my Discord in the description as well. Just like, if you build this, send me a picture. I'd love to see it. I've had people do that before with smaller bases, but obviously never anything this big. So each of the wings here is going to house a loot room. Each loot room houses 5 4-box setups. 5 times 4 is 20, obviously. So on this floor, we're going to have 60 boxes, and that's a minimum. You can house, obviously, on a maximum 6 boxes per loot room. If you're building it like very packed and you're wasting, 10 minutes on each box or on each square you build, you could fit 6 boxes. So in theory, you could do 24 boxes per room, which means you would end up with something like 60. Honestly, it's gonna be more than 65 boxes. I'm not gonna do the math in my head right now, but you can have more than 65 boxes on this floor if you optimize your space very well. So this is going to be your like mid-tier loot and stuff. Obviously, I like spreading around more workbenches for the space that you like. Well, your less utilized space, because you're not always going to be able to run up to the 5th floor to use your community space to use the workbench. So like have multiple level 2 and level 3 workbenches spread out throughout your base, so you're not always running around to get a workbench, because it's the worst when you have a base this big and you got 2 workbenches and both of them are a million doors away and they're just a pain in the ass to get to. So always make sure to keep yourself plenty of workbenches, research tables, and the like when you have a base this big. Obviously, if you're building a base this big, I assume you can afford it, because if not and you're building a base this big, you are a broke boy. Just gonna adjust my pop protector. Alright. Box, 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 box. Add all these boxes up. I like that with every loot room I do, the box placement gets sloppier. Yeah, for this build, I built this entire base last night. I got home from school at like 3:30, and I just built until like 7 or 8, and I didn't even film the cinematic last night. I filmed that today. I just recorded like for 5 minutes and then got off. I just did like, for anyone familiar with the Rust cinematic console, or with Rust's, how you film the cinematics, you can type things into console to get cinematic cam shots. There's actually a great video that a YouTuber called Frost made on cinematics. That's what actually got me into making what I do make. His video on it explains it very well. If you want to make cinematics how I make them and how other YouTubers make them, definitely check that out. It's called, just look up Rust Cinematic Frost and the video will come up. But it's awesome how these are made and the whole console there is for making cinematics. But anyhow, I literally just recorded the scene and then I went to bed. I didn't film any of the actual cinematics themselves, for anyone familiar with how the system works. So this floor, we do have another layer of honeycomb because it is still floor 3, and I wanted at least 6 floors of vertical honeycomb on this, just for safety. So yeah, get all the half walls in there, and then get all the floors in there, and then get all the roof on that, and yeah. And then just kind of honeycomb out the rest of it, and we're gonna do the same thing we did on the previous floor with the kind of ring of doors. So once again, we're gonna do another ring of garage doors, just so we can get from one loot room to another here. Makes it nice and convenient. And that's about that for this part. Okay, so for this part we actually get to do a bit of fun stuff after we finish roofing off this floor. So in this section we will be able to start the shooting floors. So we get about 1.5 floors of shooting area done in this section. So just kind of, roof as I have been. Obviously, tons and tons of roof to finish off this thing. At this point, it astonishes me how expensive and massive this base is. I'm actually still thinking about doing a collab with some other builders on just an absolutely monster space. Like, get like 3 or 4 guys and all of us just stay up, for 5 to 8 hours straight. It would just build a massive monster of a base, like 2-3 million metal. I think at some point this summer, once I'm off school and able to fuck my own schedule like that, I'm actually thinking about doing something like that. So I think if I can find guys who'd be down to do a project like that, I'm all in for it. But for the time being, we're just gonna work on what we're doing now, builds like this, which obviously I'm very happy with doing because they're all very fun to do. That pisses off my OCD, having one of the ladder hatches backwards, and I didn't notice that it's backwards at the time, so that's gonna bother me forever. I did double doors for the rest of this because I felt like these should stay closed more, and obviously garage doors are more of a pain in the ass to run through than double doors. So I made the outer ring here garage doors, but the rest of this double doors. Because you want them having a bit more health too, even if it's just 100 more health. So just kind of wall it out there. And in here we're gonna build our little clan family room. So we got a bit of loot rooms here, we got a bit of everything here. This is gonna be the main spawn area for like the majority of your people. And this is just kind of like the general space. This is where you hang out, this is where you prep for your raids, this is like family time. So that's what this entire space is intended for, just like kind of to be a chill area. So we were able to fit in a total of 12 boxes there. Get half of them to be like the unlootables, well not unlootables anymore, but like the more safe type of boxes. Those could, the lower boxes could be like only accessible by the higher ups in your clan. Just store stuff during the day while you're online. Store some booms in there just while you're, getting ready to go, and have them only be accessible to the like elders of your clan or the more trustworthy people in your clan, stuff like that. I like including 2 research benches in your main research area because obviously you might be researching more than one thing at once. And it comes like to a lot of times where you'll have the scrap and you're just kind of going through stuff researching it, so it's efficient to have 2 tables so you can research twice as fast, or 2 things at a time. And then in here, let's count how many bags we were able to fit because I didn't at the time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 bags in there. Obviously you could probably squeeze a few more, make it 20, but I think at that point you're enough of a ZERG in which you don't need any more bags. And sorry if that counts a little off from the video, because obviously the audio doesn't always overlay perfectly. Normally it does pretty well, but it's not always perfect. Just put some wood in here for filming the cinematic later, as well as putting some low grade lanterns for filming the cinematic later, so it could be nice and pretty looking when it did come time for me to actually make the video with this, then just despawn the extras. And pop on the roofs to that and the rest of the floor. So as we did this, I just kind of got more stuff ready to go for building this section, stuff that would be more efficient for what I was working on at the time. So every now and then you just see me stop and grab the supplies that I forget to grab. You know, because I'm a bit retorted, I forget to grab stuff at times. Yeah, so once again, it starts acting up. The higher I built, the worse the little acting up got. And it's after this floor that it really started. So you guys are lucky you don't have to deal with watching me be angry about that. So back to the topic of music selection. Well, I'm just building Honeycomb and there's nothing to explain. Comment what type of music you guys want to see me put in the background. Obviously I try to go for non-copyright stuff, and a lot of the times it ends up getting copyrighted anyway, but I always find that the stuff that's the most relaxing for me to put in the background, that I honestly just like putting in the background, is like vaporwave, I don't know what to call it, like 80s vaporwave type electro beats, and then like lo-fi jazz types of beats. So the two of those are always, like relaxing music that you can listen to and not necessarily listen to songs that you know or like, but still, be able to enjoy them just generally, and just kind of have them be on in the background. Like the song that's currently on, it's enjoyable, but I couldn't name it. I'm probably never gonna listen to it again, besides rewatching this video, and it's just like somewhat enjoyable still. Yeah, so at this point in the base, there's still a lot of honeycomb that goes into it. And we are about to hit it. That is frame number, wait for it. Frame number 69,000. That's right, you heard it here first, folks. We just hit frame number 69,000. I'm gonna start just always announcing that. It's right around 37 minutes, I believe, is where we're at. So, at 37 minutes, always announce that we hit frame 69,000. As long as I can continue to shoot 60 frames per second. Which I assume I will. I'm never going to be going to anything else anytime soon. So roof this up and get ready for the next layer of this base. So I'm going to take this opportunity to tell anyone currently watching, and I'll restate this at the end of the video, that if you're watching this within the first 24 hours of it being uploaded, the second half will not be going live until at least 24 hours from this one being going live. And at least means like roughly how long it's going to take. So I am uploading this on Tuesday night. Part 2 is going live on Wednesday night. So if you're building this base, in the middle of the night tonight, and you realize that part 2 is not up yet, I'm so sorry, I just don't have time to narrate it tonight. And I also don't have time to process process the other 3 videos together if you guys want me to upload them without narration, because I just don't have time to leave that processing. This is going to take forever to process without that being like that. I assume I'll get this up probably around 10 o'clock tonight, so in the meantime, Thank you guys for watching, and if you do somehow build the first part of this base tonight without realizing the second half, if it isn't up, I'm so sorry. It'll be up tomorrow, I promise. Just like the base you got so far is like, it'll be fine. I promise the second half is a banger. You saw it in the beginning. Just like chill out till tomorrow. I got you. So in here I was just kind of balancing it out to see how to build this. And you can really do whatever you want with this. You can do all low walls, all half walls. I had like a little bounce between the two. You just wait a minute and you can see what I did here. I did like one low, two half, one low, two half. Then you can obviously put boxes behind there to stand on. I just didn't. And then we start on the overhang. And get to work on the next wing. So there's that wing. You just kind of fly through it, going through all the wings, just building the same little design on all of them. This base is a lot of repetition and how it's built. So walls, honeycomb, airlocks, you know, all the same. So just throw that roof on and then go back and throw the other roof on, and this section's about done because oh no, never mind, I didn't miss the other section's roof. So yep, there it goes, acting up again. This is the first one that I really struggled with, where I had to like remove shit to make it fit. Yeah, it's really annoying when it does that. I might have ended up just leaving it. Yeah, no, never mind, I fixed that one. That's gonna get way more annoying on the other floors, and this is sped up to 2 times speed, so it's like double annoying for me when I'm actually building and it does that. I'm hoping to start running my own server soon, just for builds, not even to run as a server, but just copy down the mods from the build servers I play on, minus like the limits and stuff, and just start using my own build server. So I might start paying for that soon. Alright, that's the section. That's part 1 of this video, so if you are planning on continuing this build, please watch part 2. It'll be up within 24 hours of the upload. And that's about all for this. See you guys in part 2. And if you don't want to, see you guys later.